Hey, Karen, how are you?
I'm great. How are you,
Yeah,
Leah?
so good to see you.
You too, and thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited
Hey,
to be chatting with you.
yeah, absolute pleasure. Now, you are a salesperson in beautiful Dubbo with Bob Berry. Now, you started working with Bob and his business in 1986, is that right?
That's right. So it's just a little while ago, not too
Yeah,
long ago. Seems like only a little while ago. So, yes, started with him as a receptionist and
yep,
then over the years continued to work there on and off. I did go and do other things, but continued to work with him on and off and worked my way through the business, reception into property management, office management, and then into
yep,
sales. So, I've been in sales virtually full time since about 2011, but I
right.
did have a year off from 2015 to 2016.
Yeah, okay. So, what led you to have that year off?
I'd just gotten to the point in about 2014, 2015. I was at that time, I was number one in the
Yep,
area, which was great. There's a lot of great agents here in Dubbo.
there
So
is, yeah.
there is. So to be able to reach that position was a real thrill. But I was just basically burnt out. I was just working too long hours. I didn't have an assistant. I obviously should have made some life changes then that I didn't. And so in the end, it just got all too hard. So I just resigned, much to Bob's surprise. And it was very hard saying that
Yeah.
to him because he's like family.
Yeah. So
So,
talk me through that thought process because I've been at Lang and Simmons for 25 years, right?
mm,
So and I don't want anyone to think that I'm thinking about leaving because that's
no.
not at all. But it's just the whole conversation around somewhere where you feel like you're part of the family.
mm.
How you would have felt, I'm sure. How do you have that conversation, and how do you get to that point that you actually do leave?
So I think, and it's, and when you're working with a business like this, in a smaller business for so long, you do really become part of the family.
Yeah.
It is really a family. And so I think, like any family, a business can have its ups and downs. So
Sure.
for me, I was like well, not necessarily teenager because I think I was a bit more mature than that, but it was almost like it's time for me to leave home. I need to leave
Yeah.
home. I can't do this anymore. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. I need to go and find myself
Yeah.
again. And look, he was trying to be very persuasive to keep me there, which I
He's a very
really
good salesperson.
he is. Look, and he's been the best mentor and teacher to me
Nice.
over the years. I'm
Yeah.
so lucky to have learned under him. I really don't think without him that I'd really be where I am.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't. In real estate wasn't my intention when I first left school, but it's where I've ended up and where I've stayed, and it's been a great career for me. It's created great opportunities. I think, particularly for women and men,
Yeah.
that there's not many other careers where we can actually work flexibly and we get rewarded. For the harder we work, the more money we actually earn. So that's a
Absolutely.
great thing. Like, I'm really grateful be working in this, and plus I just
Yeah.
love houses. I love
Yeah.
property. I never tire of it. So
Oh, that's awesome.
people.
So you left in 2015 and you came back, but you were enticed back to be a business owner. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so Bob kept in touch with me over that year. He was still the owner at that particular point, and I was a supervisor at Crown Lands and really happy there. So working with a great bunch of people and learning lots, and it was a busy section of state government, so I really enjoyed that.
Mm.
And had a number of meetings with Bob, and at that point I'm still in that recovery phase of the burnout, and I just thought, no, I'm happy where I am, etc., etc. And then he caught up with me for lunch, and he just went, "Look, Karen, I've decided to sell the
Mm.
business, and I'm offering it to 4 other employees, and I'd like to offer it to you as well." So there were going to be 5 of us.
Five. Yeah.
And at that point in time, I wasn't sure if that's really what I wanted to do because, as I said, just knowing what I'd come from and then knowing going back into it, just how busy and that I would be. But having said that, I also knew that it was going to be a great opportunity as well. So after some discussion and Bob being the great salesperson that he is, he enticed me to go back as a shareholder and director in the business with the other 4 employees. And so that was about mid 2016 then when we did that.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of really good salespeople go down that business ownership road because they think that's the next step, right? You're a good salesperson, so then you have to go out and do it for yourself. But it's not always the right thing for every salesperson, is it?
No, that's right. And I previously owned a business. A girlfriend and I actually started a drive-through coffee shop here in Dubbo.
Yes, you do. Okay.
Which was great. Yeah, that's right. I'm a real estate agent. I go off for a year and a half and do that. So that was a lot of fun, just creating that business and the business development and getting it all up and running. And previously I had been the office manager at Bob Berry Real Estate too. So I was quite attuned to what running a business was like and how it would be. But I think if you're a salesperson and a leading salesperson, it takes up a lot of time and energy and effort as it is. And so then when you become a business owner, and even though I had other partners, it's still effectively another part-time job on top of your full-time job as being lead sales agent. I just got to the point where in 2018, it was just one of those years where everything seems to go wrong. So I had serious health issues. I had some relationship issues. One of my children also was having some struggles. Of course, I just decided to go and renovate a house during that time.
Oh, good idea.
Yes, yeah. And I just continued to work. I really should have, while I wasn't well, I should have taken a few months off to get better, but I just continued to work really hard because I felt an obligation to the business and to the other directors.
And that's the way we've been brought up as well, right? You soldier on.
Suck it up,
Exactly. Suck it up, princess. Yeah, absolutely.
So keep going. So suck it up. So onwards I kept going. So it actually took me about 9 months to get over my illness. And in retrospect, it probably would have only taken me a couple of months if I had allowed myself. So I was actually quite silly and now looking back. But when you're in it and you're just trying to survive and you're treading water and you've got all these demands from clients and things like that, and you want to give the great service and the great results, you just keep giving. So by the end of 2018, my bucket was quite empty. Halfway through there, I'd actually come across some of Sherry Storer's posts and Build Your Best Life. So that's sort of like when I'm in the midst of it, and I just saw it and went, I want my best life. It was just like this holy grail. I just wanted it, and I could just see it and feel it and imagine it, but just didn't know how to get there. So Sherry was a great help during that period. She encouraged me to take a month off towards the end of 2018. I actually went to Peru with a girlfriend, which was the best thing because, as you know, when you're a real estate agent, the way to get away from a mobile phone is to leave the country so there's no service.
Yeah, correct.
So that was really good. So getting away with no mobile phone service and just having that time to get some headspace.
Yeah, giving you the space to think through what does your best life look like?
That's right. Because I think we all just get so busy being busy that we don't have time to really work that out or to think about that. So I came back from that trip in November, having made the decision that I was going to speak with the directors about selling my share in the business back to them, and then just simply focus on my sales. So much to their credit, they were great and they said yes. And so the sale of my share actually went through mid last year. So I'm now just solely a sales agent, which I love, and that's what I love doing. So I can actually focus on that with my time. And then I've also since, with Sherry's help and also just with her encouragement, I suppose, just really taking a look at my life and working out what actually does my best life look like, because it doesn't necessarily...
I was just going to ask you that. What does your best life look like?
Yes, well, I've finally come to the realisation too that it doesn't have to be about the numbers. So I think in our industry, we're so focused on the top 5% and increasing GCI and increasing our transactions and things like that. But when we get caught up in that, what happens is that's what we just slowly become focused in. And those top 5% earners, like, they work really hard. I don't think people really appreciate what it takes to get to that level. So they work extraordinary hours. They put in a lot of work. They really deserve their success. But, and I think you've mentioned this before, Leanne, on one of your podcasts that I've listened to, we can have it all, but we can't necessarily have it all at once.
Correct. Absolutely. You can't have it all at the same time.
That's it.
For sure.
So when we're striving to be at that level, it means that there's other areas in our life that are missing out. So that could be our personal relationships. It could be just time for ourselves. It could be our health, our fitness, spiritual life, whatever the case may be. So what I've done is I've made the decision to, like, not necessarily pull back my numbers, but probably just pull back the way that or the amount of time that I'm working, and try and improve the way that I'm working. So then that way I'm still delivering that quality service to my clients, which is what's really important.
That's what drives you, right? It's really important to you.
It is. So giving them those great results and value for what they're paying for me to provide that service. And then at the same time creating space in my life. So I've now joined a gym. I've done a transcendental meditation course. I'm exercising more. I'm spending more time with my family, my friends, and things like that. So
sounds like you've got a balanced life. I thought that was a mythical creature. I thought that was a unicorn nobody could achieve.
I can't say that I've perfected it yet at all. It's something that I'm certainly working on, and I just have to keep adjusting. So last year I decided, in order to do this, I decided that I was going to set a limit of, say, 15 listings at a time. Yeah,
that's really interesting, because 15 is still good going, right? That's still busy if they're saleable.
Well, I've now pulled it back to 10.
Oh, yeah.
Because what happened was I thought 15 would be enough. It would be low enough, but it was still too busy. So, but that was really hard for me to do too, because again, as an agent, we have this fear that if we say to someone, look, I'm sorry, I'm booked up, I can't take you on at this point, that they're going to go to someone else, so we're going to lose business. Sure. So we have all of this fear around, like, it's a roller coaster with real estate. So having that fear that if I don't have enough listings, there's not going to be enough. But I've been really, really lucky. People are happy to wait, or I might get down.
That's not luck, love.
Thank you.
That's not luck.
Thank you.
Obviously a reflection of your skill.
I appreciate that. I've been doing this. I've been practicing this for a long time.
Yeah, you sure have. So how many transactions would you do in a year?
So look, I would normally do about 50 transactions in a year, but now that I've pulled back to about my 10 listings at a time, and with the whole COVID thing, I'm probably looking at about 40, I'd say, for...
that's still good going, isn't it? I mean, that's,
And the other thing is too, I think that in order to have work-life balance, we can still earn a really good income. But we have to actually go, well, how much is enough? Totally. But we can just keep earning and working and earning and working.
But why? Why are you doing it? What do you? Why do you need the money? What are you going to do with it? So you've got to focus in on that whole why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's been a part of my journey too, is like going, okay, well, how much is enough? So 40 transactions a year will be enough for me to live comfortably and to do the things that I want to do, and grow from there. So it's been a whole, I suppose, just a subtle adjustment, and just setting those boundaries, and also just learning to say no. That's been a hard thing.
Yeah, I'm not very good at that.
Neither am I. And learning to ask for help too, rather than going, I'll do it, it's okay. So even things that weren't my responsibility, I'll do it. So
can I tell you, I was actually, when COVID hit, and after the first couple of weeks when we kind of realised this is getting real, I had to cancel all of these trips, and I felt like I just had this massive weight lifted off my shoulders because I couldn't go anywhere. So it wasn't about me choosing to say no. It was about not being able to go anywhere and having to stay at home and having to, obviously still working but not traveling. I had dozens of trips, dozens of speaking engagements to do over this period of time. I felt like I could breathe again. So
Look,
Yeah.
I was the same. And I think there's so many people out there that felt that too. And not only in
Yeah.
our industry, but in a lot of
A lot.
industries.
Yeah.
It gave us an excuse to actually stop
Yeah.
because it was actually everyone was doing it. So that was
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And I think it also gave us an excuse to actually sit down and redefine what success looks like to us.
Yeah.
So I actually sat down and did a goals grid. So I put on it what I'd like to achieve,
Yeah.
which is what we all normally do with our goals.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, in the grid, I put down what I'd like to eliminate from my life.
Okay.
I also wrote down to what I wanted to avoid in my life.
Yeah.
And I also wrote down what I wanted to preserve. Because the problem is when we're trying to achieve those goals, what happens is quite often something that we already have in our life that we actually love gets pushed to the wayside. So it was really important to me that I didn't lose those things that I already had in my life that I loved. But I could also work at eliminating those things that I didn't want and make sure I avoided the things I didn't want. And
How hard was that process? Because sometimes it's hard to be really clear on everything that it is that you love, that you hate, that you want to bring in, that you want to avoid. Sometimes you're so busy running that it's hard to get that clarity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is. And I think, again, that's where where COVID allowed us extra time to have that clarity, even though we were still being busy then running around with the inspections by appointment and things like that. It certainly gave me, like for me, I actually like doing inspections by appointment. So now when listings first come on, I tend to put aside a whole day for a brand new listing coming on and book in 10-minute inspections by appointment with buyers from our buyer database and social media and things like that. So then that way they have 10 minutes on their own to inspect the property, plus I'm limiting the amount of people that can come through. And I just think I can have better quality conversations with people one-on-one than what I can with open for inspection. So I think, again, for our industry and for me, COVID has highlighted that I really enjoy inspections by appointment for those connections.
A lot of people have said the same thing. And of course, I'm old. I'm so old that open homes didn't exist when I was an agent.
We're the same age. We're not old. We're babies.
We all did. That was all we did was by appointment, and you develop so much. The relationship you develop with your buyers, who are ultimately going to be your vendors next time around, really made it worthwhile.
Yes,
Unless you had 90 inspections over a weekend, then that was a bit of a challenge.
It's busy. But what I've also found is that a lot of people actually appreciate that day when I open isn't a Saturday. It's during the week. They actually appreciate it because a lot of buyers comment to me that they're so busy trying to get around to all of those open for inspections in one day. They don't have time to really fully inspect a property. So doing that too has allowed me to open up and free up a lot of my Saturdays. So I may not work every Saturday now. So to have 2 days off in a row, and it feels like a holiday.
It does. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of good things that have come out of COVID. I mean, obviously there's been some horrible things too, and I feel for those people, but again, as I said, it's really been an opportunity to, I think, redefine what success looks like. That's not just based on our numbers.
Yeah, totally. I think there's more and more people that are starting to feel that way. But as an industry, we still do idolise the multi-million-dollar writer. And,
and we do. Like, we all look at it and go, wow, that looks incredible. And it would be, although I can't imagine the amount of work, and obviously they need to have a great team behind them too to be able to achieve that. So it just doesn't happen overnight, and it's not magic. It comes down to their determination, their work ethic, and their commitment to get to that. So I really do admire them for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I really I admire you for being focused on what's true for you and finding a way for this to all work and you to have that that satisfaction. I think it's awesome.
No, I appreciate that. And I admire Bob Berry Real Estate too for just having the faith and the trust in me just to allow me to do this too, because I imagine that when I first said to them, look, I want to sell my share, I want to just sell, they instantly probably would have thought she's going out on her own.
Get it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
because that's what happens a lot of times. But but again, they're family to me, and that's where I feel comfortable, and I think that's where I do my best work.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, you mentioned that you've started meditating. Is that, how long ago did you start doing that? And tell me about that process, because people always say to me, there's no way I can meditate. I can't keep my mind, I can't slow my mind down. But, what people don't understand with meditation is that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
You're learning how to slowly but surely, and when the thoughts come in, you just have to move them on. So It's not about, So tell me about how that process went for you.
So I've always tried meditation on and off over the years. So I believe in that whole spirituality and the benefits that it can provide to us. But had never really gotten into a routine or pattern. I'd pick it up and then get it started and then stop and then get busy and distracted and so forth.
That's me.
Yeah, so that was my pattern too. So there's a transcendental meditation teacher here in Dubbo, and he provided a 4-day course. So paid for the course, it's one-on-one. Yeah. And transcendental meditation it's similar to Vedic meditation, if you've ever done that. So it's actually where they provide you with an individualized mantra, which is a word that has no association. So when you think of apple, you instantly think of an apple. So you think. So this word is just a sound that everyone has their own different sound. So it's just a matter of, look, to summarize it briefly, just to concentrate on this mantra or sound in your mind over and over and over again. And thoughts do come in, but it's simply just a matter of recognizing that they're there and just letting them sort of float through. And again, I'm a work in progress with that. Meditation's so good for me because it does slow me down. I am one of those, when I'm like 2 years ago, when I was crazy busy and out of control, I'm almost manic. Like I talk quickly, I run quickly, I work quickly, type quickly, like everything's just quick. So it's on fire, like everything's like on 2 speed. So meditation's really good because it actually just helps me slow down, ground myself, pull myself back. And it's just amazing how when you create that space in your life too for that quiet time, actually what comes to you, like the thoughts, the insights and things like that. Like just like when I said that I went away overseas for 4 weeks and had that space and time to allow things to come to me. Meditation, I suppose, for me is that same opportunity without having to spend $5,000 to go overseas for 4 weeks. So I try to do it 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the afternoon. Again, that doesn't always happen, but even if I could just do 10 minutes, that's okay. And on the really busy days, 5 minutes. So I have an alarm in my clock to remind me. If I don't have reminders, it doesn't happen. If it's not in my calendar, it doesn't happen. So I'm doing that. I'm not, another thing that I've changed too is I used to always feel guilty about not being part of the 5 a.m. club. So I, everyone's like, 5 a.m.
No, 4:30. I get up. I start training at 4:10. It's like, good God, people.
So I can't do that. do that. I had read recently a book called Why Do We Sleep by Matthew Walker, and it was fascinating. So in that, he actually, he's a sleep expert, and he actually cited studies where elite athletes, so this is Olympians, were previously getting up and training early. So they tested their results getting up to an alarm and training early versus them getting up when they naturally woke. Their circadian rhythm said that they could wake. Their results, even though it's like down to point whatever of a second, but their results were consistently better when they allowed their bodies to wake naturally rather than getting up early in the morning to train. And then even having having those 20-minute power naps too, just the difference that can do. So so now I just allow myself to wake up naturally. I actually don't really start work until about 10 a.m., 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, right.
Because I get up, I do the meditation, I have a good breakfast, I exercise, and I do all of that first up in the morning because I know that I won't get it done in the evening because I'll be too busy and I'll be too distracted with work. So I then start work about 10:30, and then I may work into the evening, but it'll tend to be tasks where I can just sit on my laptop in my living room with my family, still conversing with them, but just getting that done. The other thing too is just working in short bursts and sprints. Like without the distractions, I'm working from home most of the time now too from COVID, which I think is great. I'm so much more productive because I don't have those work distractions. I love the team and everyone being around, but I can just push through more work, and which just creates more time to enable me to do the things that I want to do right now.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of agents out there being very jealous that you can start work at 10 or 10:30 and still do 40 odd transactions a year. That's amazing. But when you make the space to work the way that you work best, where you're most productive, it makes sense, right? That you're happier and more successful.
And I think that's what it's about. It's just working out what's right for you as an individual.
Yeah.
And for some people, starting early works best for them, and that's great. But for me, I've worked out that that's what works best for me. If I don't do it this way, I don't end up exercising, I don't end up meditating, I don't end up eating healthily. So they're all the things that now that are becoming more of a priority to me, along with delivering that great customer service. So it's just, and doing that goals grid really made me realise what I was missing out in my life, or what I was pushing aside, I suppose, more than anything.
And did you do that on your own, or did you have help getting focused and directed to do your goals grid?
I actually had someone who recommended it to me, which was great.
Because I've never actually heard of that. I've heard of lots of different ways to do things, but I've not heard of a goals grid.
Yeah, so I'd never heard of it either. But when I actually sat down, it was just, and I didn't do it just in one sitting. Like I started doing it, and then because you know how then something will pop up, and then so I thought over this weekend I'm just going to work on my goals grid. So then by Monday I then had my grid, and then I've just slowly been moving my eliminating items, so the things that are in my eliminating column, across to that now my avoiding column, because once I eliminate them, I then want to continue avoiding them. I don't want them back in my life. So I'm just slowly moving those things across, and then my achieve goals, I'm just slowly moving them across to my preserve goals. So and they don't have to be work oriented or work related all the time. So I think we need to work towards that balanced life if we can. Like, there's no perfect balanced life.
No, there's not. Yeah, I call it work-life integration.
Yes.
So I think it is really hard to balance, and I think everything has become more integrated. There's not a separation between home and work like there once was.
No, so, and particularly now. So
exactly. I'm in my lounge room.
And I'm at home too. So,
exactly. Is there any? If people are interested in finding out more about the goals grid, is there any resources or some reading that you can direct them to?
I think it's by Fred Nichols and Ray Ledgerwood.
Okay.
From memory. So if they Google that, they might be able to find it.
Yeah, I'll Google it and get Chant to put it in the show notes.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, we have been speaking for half an hour. Would you believe it?
Really?
I know. It just goes by so quickly. Fast. I know, but it's been amazing to catch up with you. Thank you so much for fitting me into your busy day, because I know how flat out you are.
No, and you too. You are just like superwoman. I have no idea how you achieve everything that you do, but you are, honestly, you're an inspiration to us.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Everything that you do to help us. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been lovely to catch up. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Okay, bye.